Now, when you talk about your most recent analogy for explaining, like the vortex versus it used to be the escrow, the thing about the vortex is it seems like a place that you either are or you aren't. And yet, it appears that most people are in the vortex on certain subjects and out of the vortex on others. An example would be you look at someone like, say, Oprah, who clearly in many areas of her life has been very aligned and yet has that, physical well-being, health, fitness kind of thing that she's... So how could somebody spend so much of their life in the vortex and still have an area or a subject area that they can't overcome?
Well, there are a number of things that we want to say about this whole subject that you're uncovering here. First, let's start with you're right, we offer endless analogies, and the emotional scale was sort of where we began in helping you to realize that there are vibrational set points and that you have more control over that than you've been exercising. Next, we began talking about the stream, because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, you send forth a rocket of desire which creates a momentum that then calls you toward it. In other words, so you can feel when the stream is calling you and you're going willingly, or you can feel when the stream is calling you and you are not going willingly. In other words, that was an analogy that was very good at serving us in explaining what resistance feels like. The vortex, the reason that the vortex is such an exhilarating example for us is that as you've been listening to us even here today, and we talk about this vortex and how you can linger on the edge of it in hope, but not for very long, because the vortex will take you in. So this vortex represents those higher frequencies where there is a true tipping of your vibration that then allows manifestations to begin. We wanted to make it clear that there is a distinct mark or vibrational place where once you chronically achieve it, there is a substantial tipping point where the evidence of having made that consistently is obvious to you. And so we really like this vortex analogy better than all of the others, although it came on the heels of the others. The understanding was easier to receive. Of course, the vortex isn't a place, it's a state of being, but it is a state of being that people who care about how they feel, who have learned to focus deliberately, can achieve and maintain, and it will put you among the most successful people on the planet relative to whatever it is that you're wanting. Now, whenever you focus on anyone, and Oprah is a good example because she's out there in front of everyone, open about the life that she lives. But whether we are talking about Oprah, who is well known, or anyone who is not, it is the same thing. When you have a desire and a belief that are the same, then there's no resistance, and you have ease in the uncovering of that. And so it's logical that Oprah didn't always have belief relative to the abundance that she has, and we are certain that even today, as her abundance, desire, and belief are getting greater and coming into focus, and greater and coming into focus, just with the life experience that she is living. In other words, there are no examples where anyone has what they are wanting until they come into vibrational alignment with it. And you said yourself, she has, and a lot of people do, made her struggle an open struggle. You get a few million people focused on your struggle, it's even harder for you not to focus on your struggle. Have you ever had an experience with someone and you knew that they had a particular disparaging opinion of you, and as you're interacting with them, you begin behaving in accordance with the opinion that you know that they have? Sure. It's like going home for a family reunion. And you return to all of those things that you haven't lived in years. It's like they just suck them out of you. And it's because their opinion or their expectation is still active in them, and you haven't practiced something other than that to make it stronger. In other words, whatever vibration is most dominant in any arena will step forward and will be the experience. That's why we say it takes focus and determination to hold yourself in vibrational alignment with who you really are. And you're right, there are people who really can easily go into the vortex relative to money, but not relative to health. Or they can really be in the vortex relative to health, but not relative to relationships. And but what's happening with a lot of that is a lot of people are observing what is, and what is already at a place that observing it perpetuates it. So you could say that of someone who is really financially successful but having a hard time with health. They're observing what is. So they're observing their financial success and perpetuating it, and they're observing their not satisfying health condition and perpetuating it. In other words, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are in the vortex. It means that they are perpetuating what they are giving their attention to. And we don't know anybody who has a more difficult time of being perpetually in the vortex than someone who has trained themselves to elicit response from the masses. That's the most difficult thing in the world. When you are in show business and you have your livelihood depends on them liking what you do, then you are one of the first to contour your behavior to what the masses are asking for, and probably not as likely to pay attention to what your gut is telling you. Yes.